Let's shift our attention now to the commodities market, and the research analyst at the financial derivatives company, Temitope Olugbile, joins us now for that. Good morning, Temitope. So the lockdown has been extended. What are we likely to see, or what effect are we likely to see this have on the domestic commodities market? Already we saw a spike in prices just before the initial 14 days.
Good morning, VC. Yes, so yesterday we heard President Buhari announce that, the lockdown has been extended in Lagos, Ogun, and, the FCT. And of course, with good reason, if we will say, because when it was first of all announced, when the initial lockdown was announced, we saw that, we're just over, it's over 100 or 100 cases. Now we are ×3 of that. And, what this would do now is people will continue to panic by, just that yesterday, maybe this morning, we'll see a lot of people rush to the supermarkets, close to their houses, as nearby as they can, and, continue the panic buying. We'll see that there will be that increased demand for, staples, household staples, and what that would do, of course, with increased demand comes increased prices. And we're already saying that there will now be scarcity, they'll try to, even the supermarkets, or, they may try to hoard, and then there will now be an artificial scarcity of these commodities, and all of that will just lead to an increase in the prices of these commodities.
Now, let's talk about countries like Spain and Italy now, which were some of the countries that have been worst hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. They're beginning to reopen economic activities in a little over a month after they began their lockdown. Now, what recovery period do you project for Nigeria?
So I think countries, governments all around the world, they are now striking a balance. They're trying to strike a balance between the health recovery and, the economic activities. They are becoming increasingly worried about what this pandemic, this health crisis is going to have on their economy. So you see countries like Spain and Italy that were some of the worst hit European countries. You see that, with the news of, just, a slowdown, a steady slowdown in the confirmed cases and the death rates, you see that, that is like a ray of sunshine to these governments. And of course, so they are slowly starting to reopen, starting to get their economy back in shape. And it's, of course, it's slow, it's not, and like the WHO has recommended, it has to be strategic if these countries want to avoid a resurgence and what could be even worse than the first wave. So, they are doing it strategically. And for Nigeria, it's right now what we are seeing is we are at that point in our own domestic curve where it is increasing. It is steadily, the cases are steadily increasing. So we have to get to that point where, like these countries, Spain and Italy, have gotten to, where the death rates, the confirmed cases start to slow, like the word around town. So we need to flatten the curve before we can get our economy back into what used to be normal. Yeah, so it could take 1 month. It really just depends on what, the health side of it, how is the health sector attacking this, crisis. And as soon as the health scare is over, we'll get back to the economy scare.
I'm sure everybody can't wait for that to happen. Now, tell us, what have you noticed in terms of the availability of banking channels during this period of lockdown? How seamless have the online transactions been?
I think banks around the country are, doing all that they can, because I mean, yes, there's a slowdown in activities, and, even that would reduce the demand, should reduce the demand for, banking activities, because really consumption is at a low, production is at a low. So there's a lockdown. Manufacturers, importers, all these people, consumers that make use of these channels, they are really at a lockdown. So there's that reduced demand. But even for the people that need it, let's just assume you need it for whatever, maybe you need to send money down home or something, banks all around the country are doing all that they can to make these e-platforms available. And, because really you can't go and you can't walk into a bank right now to, carry out your transaction. So you're just left with the e-channels. And I think it has been seamless to an extent, yes. And they're doing all that they can to keep people at home, because the more you make your online transactions seamless, I don't need to walk into any bank, then I'll sit at home. So yes.
What about agro-commodities now? What's your outlook?
So to a large extent, the outlook is like the outlook for most other things is looking a bit bleak. We'll see that, there was that disrupted supply, there's that disruption in supply chains. Farmers are, they're essential services, but there's really no, like, there's a slowdown in demand. So even if I'm a farmer, I've seen that consumers are, there's a slowdown in demand. And really, as you want to produce, but if there's that slowdown in demand, there's no motivation for you to produce. So I think that to a large extent, there's disruption of supply chains, and we would continue to see that supply chain affect, that disruption in supply chain affect prices. And so you can see with reduced supply comes increased prices. So we'll see that, as we go into the months, we'll see an increase in headline inflation as you see the increase in prices that would manifest in headline inflation.
Thank you, Temitope. Temitope Olugbele is a research analyst at the Financial Derivatives Company.